How is it going, guys? And welcome back to Meet the Coaches, a series on this channel where we're going to show you a little bit about every single one of our PPL coaches, have a little bit of an interview with them, find out a bit more about their playstyle, what they're into, and generally just have a bit of a chat. And I am here today with a very special coach indeed, and I think he knows why. We have our granddaddy, Jack Greyveee. Say hi to the people.
That sure is a way to introduce me, the granddaddy. I think I'm probably just a daddy. I think Elbow Jack, non-phonetic Jack, is probably the granddaddy at this point. But
you know what? I'll take that.
Hey, how are we doing, guys? Great here. And I coach the Vancouver Titans.
Fantastic. That was going to be my first question, so you've taken it away from me.
Oh, there you go. Yes.
Fantastic. So, Jack, you are indeed the coach of the Vancouver Titans. So, how did you come about with that team name? Was it something that was suggested to you? Where's the story behind that?
I was just trying to get team names that worked with Overwatch League teams, and Ellie had Shanghai Dragons, which was just literally a perfect team name. There was nothing that I could do to top that. But I was looking through Pokemon, and Tangrowth is one of my favorite mons from Gen 4, and I was like, you know what, that kind of works. And the logo came back and it was sick, and it's just stuck for however many years now I've got it.
Yeah, I've got to say, on the topic of the logo game, every single one of the coaches in the league this season has an incredible logo. Every single one of them. Sure. Personal favourite is Lars's.
I mean, Lars is a classic. Let's be honest. That's from day one Draft League, isn't it? That's one that you would notice if you watched Draft League 8 years ago. You would still know that team name. So.
Absolutely, yeah. It's back in the day where all of the team names were all puns. Then those filthy Americans came over and started making them all, you know. So you've been involved in Draft League for quite a few years now. Well, how many years, and what sort of experience do you have with the format?
I mean, that's a good question. I actually can't remember when I started. It must be 5 years ago, because it was around the time that Ellie and I got together. For those who don't know, she is my fiance. And that's actually PPL that's the reason that we had to begin with, but that's a whole other story. That's not the question you asked, so I won't go too far into it. But yeah, I started at the end of PPL season 5, or maybe even earlier. I can't tell you what season it was. It's a long time ago. I took over a team that was 0-8, and I got a single win in that season in the last few games. And yeah, since then, competed in a lot of Draft League, Showdown at the start, and then Wi-Fi towards the end of Gen 7. Started to kind of make a name for myself in the lower leagues, and as Gen 8 came around, basically everyone dropped off. A lot of people dropped off, and it did allow for a lot of the smaller content creators, the smaller players, to be able to kind of take the main stage. And once that happened, something with Gen 8 kind of just clicked with me, and I was able to get a couple of championships. And so far in this generation, I won BBR Season 4, which was the first kind of main Draft League of this season, at least in terms of Wi-Fi upload. Since then, I've managed 2 quarterfinals and a finals game that I actually played today.
Damn, fantastic. I'm not going to ask you for the result of that game because no spoilers or anything, but that will.
No, it'll go up soon.
I was going to say that will be up on your channel very soon, I imagine. You seem in a good mood though, so...
I was in a good mood no matter what, win or lose, I was always going to be in a good mood.
I like
to make
that.
it to finals is an achievement in of itself, and I had a really terrible regular season. I just made playoffs and then had a good run. So.
Fair enough. Well, I look forward to watching it and finding out how it went. Now, it's good that you mentioned Gen 8, because as you said, a lot of people dropped off in Gen 8 just because of the changing requirements and the way that Pokemon did Pokemon things. I personally stuck around for Gen 8 mainly because you hosted so many of the leagues that I was in, Wi-Fi and Showdown, and you kind of helped really hold the scene together in Generation 8. So I just kind of wanted to find out a bit about how you... Well, fair enough. I mean, it's just true. It's just truth at the end of the day.
I mean, I do have a bit of an issue when it comes to running leagues. I always do, and I always have more than one going at a time. I don't know why I do this to myself, but I do. As you're very aware, PBA is running alongside, and that's a league that I commission. And then PPL came along, and I just happened to commission this one, and they start at the exact same time. So, who doesn't love having all that stress on their shoulders?
I was gonna say, you take on a hell of a lot. So, like, why do you, without appearing to like be a bit too rude, why'd you do it to yourself?
It's a good question, and I think there's probably about 75% of me that has absolutely no idea why I do it to myself. But I just love the community, and I love playing Draft League. It's just, I've made so many friends over the years, including yourself, very early on, in fact, with yourself. And it's something that I just always want to be playing games with my friends, and it's a situation that I find myself to be very lucky in that I have quite a few connections at this point, and I can host a league like the PBA, which has 48 coaches, and I can like bring in people from all sorts of leagues, from like even showdown leagues and non-upload Wi-Fi leagues, and get them all in one place, and you get all these fresh matchups, and it's a lot of fun. And I feel privileged to be in the position that I am, and I try and make the most of it.
Oh, well, you certainly do make the most of it. I've made countless connections through your leagues, and whenever I speak to anyone about a draft league and they're asking me where should I go to find out more, who are like the big players, your name is always one of the ones that's mentioned. So yeah, without trying to blow too much smoke up your ass or anything, but, but yes, let's move on to a bit more about your sort of experience with actually playing the game. So what sort of play style do you prefer to play most? Are you a hyper offense person? Are you one of those stall heathens? Are you a balanced player?
Well, I am not a stall heathen.
Thank God.
I can say that much. I tend to lean more towards a balanced or offensive playstyle, but I don't feel like I necessarily have one specific playstyle that I always play. I would tend to draft just kind of strong teams, like top-heavy teams, but I think weirdly enough I've got more of a reputation for making low tiers work than I do the top tiers.
Kind of like myself then.
Yeah, I mean your drafts are quite something. Like you have a specialty for taking drafts that on paper look like they're gonna do not particularly well and then making them work. And I think that's more impressive than taking a team that is good on paper and making it work. So
the championships would beg to differ, my friend.
I mean, sure, but I mean, with BBR earlier in the season or in this generation, we still only had the 20-minute timer. So I had no choice. I basically had to play hyper offensive because otherwise the games weren't going to get done. And since then, the new timers come in. I've been able to play a bit more balanced. But like with Pack, this season just gone. I have like a Spathra, I have Libero Cinderace. My MVP is Luxray.
Oh, my man.
It's that's just generally. I don't feel like I have one playstyle, but I don't tend to play stall. Really.
Fair enough. Thank God for that. We don't like that. Stall is the enemy of my heart. It's not my favorite thing in the world. But speaking of Pokemon that you have performed well with, what would be your sort of memorable moment? Everyone's got that one play, that one game.
Feel like you know exactly what Pokemon will come to mind when it comes to memorable moments.
I've got a few with you.
I mean, Greedent is definitely up there. That's one Pokemon that's kind of synonymous with me at this point, whether I like it or not, but I definitely like it. It's a great Pokemon.
There was a reason that your name was Greedent the God for quite a while.
That's true, yeah. I mean, it still is my showdown name. So I'm trying to think of any one particular play that would stand out, but I honestly can't think of anything off the top of my head. I think just generally, like, I don't play to make these huge plays. A lot of it is kind of positioning, so I don't have to do that. So it's difficult for me to really pinpoint something that would be like, oh yeah, that was just an absolutely absurd play, or I had an absurd game there. It's just generally I'll play turn by turn and try and position to a point in which I can't, randomly get crit or whatever, because there's nothing worse than getting that random crit and being able to lose because of it, but also it just means that you don't end up making these particularly big plays or big reads.
I get that. You play with a bit more of a kill 'em with 1,000 cuts type of play style.
Yeah.
No, I get that. I will say though, you do have a tendency to bring some very creative sets. You're a very unconventional with some of your builds sometimes. I've seen double kick Spectrier, I've seen all sorts of madness from you.
That's a classic, yeah. Double kick Spectrier for Obstagoon and Weavile, I think, 2 weeks in a row.
And a Tyranitar, I think.
Oh, Tyranitar, yeah. I mean, if you got the coverage, you might as well use it, right? That's doesn't matter if it's got like base 60 attack. It's still times 4 effective against those mons. You might as well make the most of it.
Oh, it was a fun game to watch, I'll give you that.
Yeah.
Right, so what would your message be to people watching you this season? What would your message to any sort of draft league player, someone trying to either get into the scene or has been around for a while, what would you say to them?
In terms of like why they should watch my content,
Why they should
or
watch
just
you, or
generally
why they should get into draft league, you know.
Draft league in general, because you'll make a ton of friends, you'll play an awesome game 99% of the time, and then that 1% you'll get frozen on turn 1 in a championship game, and you end up just tilting out your brain. But
we've all been there.
Oh, we've all been there, yeah, definitely. But no, it's a fantastic community, and it's also like playing chess to an extent. It also gives you something to think about whilst you're at work.
Oh, totally.
If anything, that's the main thing, is that whilst you're walking around or sat there at a computer, you can just be doing some prep on the side.
Yeah, hop onto Discord, maybe do a draft, prep for your next game.
Yeah, why not?
Absolutely. It's gotten me through many a boring day sat at my home office, so I totally feel that. Wow, fantastic. Well, I've got a good little look into yourself there, but I got one final question just before we hop off for the day. If you could have any Pokemon as a pet, and we can't say Greedent, we're not allowed to say Greedent.
You can't just completely just take them on off the board like that.
Okay,
go ahead.
If you could have any Pokemon as a pet, what would it be and why, but no Greedent?
But no what, sorry?
But no Greedent.
No Greedent. I would probably go with Hisuian Growlithe. I love how cute it looks. I love its design, and also I love my dog, and it's basically just another good boy in my life.
Your dog is also synonymous with you at this point. The amount of dog pics you'll get being in one of Jack's servers is off the scale.
Stop it. You got it, bud?
We're going to get a nice little dog exclusive.
There we go. I mean, hang on, let me move my mic. There he is, there's a good boy.
Well, we got a little bit of Toffee, but if you want
to
see more of Toffee, make sure you're watching Jack's videos this season. Gray and the Vancouver Titangs will be competing, and hopefully able to add to his many championship titles that he's won over the years. Fingers crossed.
Competition is very tough for this season. Very tough.
Fantastic. Well, thank you very much for giving me some of your time today, Jack. Best of luck. If you have any parting message, now is your time to throw it out to the world.
Thank you for having me, and praise Lord Greedent.
Praise Lord Greedent. Well, that's it from us. Thank you very much for watching. I've been OnesieBanette. Look after yourselves.